All right, video time. Today we're gonna put together another DIY box. This time is going to be the XintechPro box. This is a company that's been around for a while, but they just came up with this brand and they put in their boxes. They've been making boxes like this, but not the DIY version. They basically load them up with cells and then they sell them to you, plug and play products. And I think they sell a lot on Europe, but not so much in the US or the North American market with this box right here. And this is their, they don't say what version it is. I think it's like a version 4. So there's like other versions of this box already. And it's very similar to some of the other boxes. I see some things that they have in here like vents. They're starting to put vents in the designs here, which I don't know if I like actually, because first of all, you're not pushing these cells very high. So the only, I guess if you're pushing the BMS really high, you might use the vents and stuff, but we'll see how this goes. This box is not supposed to be compatible with the dual stud cells, but I think we're gonna try that, and I think we're gonna be able to show that it might be compatible. The box doesn't really care, and we'll explain more on that. So right now, we just put it on the table. We're gonna take it apart. I'm gonna take the covers off and see what's in there. Oh, it's already there. Ooh. Okay, ooh, look at that. It's got the nice isolation there. Oh, look at that. It comes with all this stuff that is protected. Plenty of room over here for you to make the connections. They're running dual cables and they're using 6 American wire gauge cables, the 200C silicon rubber. So that's about the highest quality cables that you can use, right? Because they have this. So 2.6 it would equal what, like a 4 or a 2? So I think this will be fine to run 200 amps. By the way, 200 amps is the max that this continues, that this JK BMS is going to do, right? So you don't want to be running these boxes at like continuous at the max, because, you know, it's like running your car at a maximum speed everywhere you go. It's not going to last very long if you do that, right? So it's the same thing here. Most of these times, these battery boxes are like only one of a larger assembly of boxes. So like it'll run at home, no problem. And you're usually only seeing like 50 amps or whatever on these. So yeah, this is kind of a little bit overbuilt in here. But in case you did have a special case where you're using this in a peak situation like that, well, yeah, I think this will do. All right, so for this build, we are gonna use grade A Eve cells. And this time we're gonna use the 280 amp hours. But of course, this same size comes in 300, 306, 314, and I think there's even some brands that will advertise as 320 amp hours, right? So much more than 1 kilowatt hour per cell. So this box kit can potentially have around from 15 to 16, you know, close to 17 kilowatt hours on a single box like this. Okay, so you have to take those screws off, and then once you take those screws off, and a few zip ties, and then that whole thing comes off. Oh, this is supposed to be glued. They have this glued already in here, but this one just came off loose. No big deal. You put it back in there. I've seen other boxes where all this stuff comes loose. Everything, like all the connectors in the thing, like all this stuff. These ones are the new models of boxes where like most of the stuff is already put together. So then you know that you're not going to be missing any components because they're almost already there. So then you get your bus bars, some little screws. These are always off. Isolators for those bridges that go over the cells. By the way, I didn't know what this was, and I just saw someone said that this little cable is to connect the heating pads. You would use this port right here, and this is the cable. So I don't know if you know this for sure. Can you put it in the comments there, because I don't know. This is the first time that I saw anybody mention that. 4 of the foam sheets, and then the other ones are just regular epoxy sheets. Only the one bus bar that goes across is gonna be a semi-flexible one. The other ones are just regular copper, and then you get the comms cable over there. Okay, and then the feet. And the feet are very interesting. They're made out of steel. These boxes are really, really heavy once you load them up with batteries. So you need strong feet, but I don't know if I like this. These are like steel feet. Oh, I think these have a dual purpose. So they go in here. And it's center the box. It won't let it fall off, right, when you stack them. So this is the reason why they're that. But like if you want to put this box on like a smooth surface, it is gonna damage it because this is steel. And it comes to this like a fine point there, right? So yeah, keep that in mind if you're gonna install this and you want to set it on a table or a desk or a thing. Like make sure you don't care what that thing is, because these would make a number on your surfaces. So here's another cool thing about this. I've seen some other video reviewers, and I think mostly Andy has made, where like they were putting traces very close to these screws here, and then they were sending out like little washers to isolate the thing because they were shorting out or too close to shorting out. This one right here, it seems like they didn't make that mistake, and that there's no traces nowhere near any of these screws, so that you don't need to put any of these isolating washers or any of that. And here's the thermistors. A485 is clearly labeled. I like the fact that these are labeled really, really clearly here. They don't have to do this, and sometimes when this could help you. So what you do here is just put that little rubber stuff on there, because that serves as a little cushion, because this is going to be sitting on top of the cells, right? Okay, so here's where the next part you have to do is you have to install the cells. But to install the cells, you have to undo this, which is a compression plate. And in order to do that, you have to remove all this. So it kind of defeats the purpose of them putting this whole thing together. I mean, there's a reason, there's a good thing you gain when they put it all together. It means that you have every single bolt and everything, right? Like it's not missing because it's there. If they put it in a little bag, maybe they'll forget it. This way, they don't forget, right? They don't forget to put the BMS because it's installed in here. But the bad part about this design is that you have to undo this. So you have to undo a bunch of work. There is a way to not have that. For example, if they were to put the compression plate in the opposite side over there, then you can eliminate some work. Because right now what you have to do is disconnect everything. You even have to take off the BMS because this has screws in the middle there that are behind the BMS. So you have to completely disassemble this whole box and then reassemble it. Okay, so now here's the panel, the front panel. What do we have to do? Oh, so yeah, you have to undo so you have to undo everything. See, if you were to put this compression plate in the back here, for example, and then just put holes right where the bolts are at, and maybe put like a little spring, and you put like a little caps or something, you could just like take the caps off, put a tool in there, like, and loosen it so it backs off. You put your cells, then you can tighten everything back up, put the little things, and you're done. You don't have to completely touch like at all the front over there, right? Like that would be a better design than this. So these designs do have to evolve a little bit because this is painful. Like everything's done, and then you're like, oh yeah, but you gotta undo everything.
Right?
Yeah. You squeeze it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. The apex, I think.
Okay, so now you take off all the screws. Now you remove the BMS. Now you expose those screws. You have to loosen those so that you can create enough room to install the cells with all the foam and all the things that is gonna help you keep them compressed. If you don't do this, then you struggle to put the cells in there. Or yeah, you install them without any of the stuff and then you don't have compression and you lose some isolation, which is not ideal because now you have loose cells in there and stuff. Okay, so at this point we loosen up this. I don't know, we have to take it off. What we're gonna do is try to put the cells in there and then put there's 4 foams, right?
4 foams. Yeah.
4 foams, which means 1 here, 1 there. These thin plates is going between, right? So we're gonna do that and then see if we have to, how much more room we need to do that.
Let me get fit.
Okay, so you don't have to take that plate off. You just have to loosen it. Now we have the foam on both sides and we have all the plates and then, yeah. Oh, I mean, it's a bit tight, but have effect. They do have elongated holes in there. Oh, there we go, right?
Yeah, it's fit.
This is gonna fit tight in here, so you have to hook it in the back and then pull it, and then because it has to compress the little rubber stuff that you put in there, right? So these bottomed out all the way to the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're bottomed out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so these are the bus bars that the box comes with, and this is the reason why it might not be compatible with these cells. Because, well, actually, you could even make it work. It's not ideal to use these because these have 2 holes on each ones, right? And so that design, but in a pinch, you could, like if you didn't have them, right? So the reason I'm saying is it doesn't have the bus bars that have the 4 holes that these require, right? But most of the time, depending on where you get your cells, the cells come with the bus bars included. And so if you bought the cells in a place that came with your bus bars, you just don't use these ones and you use the bus bars that came with your cells, and then you'll be fine. This is what we're going to do today. Like, we have the 4-hole bus bars that came with the cells, so we're going to use those. Okay, so it turns out our cells are backwards, and the way we find that out is because of those numbers. So the most negative cell is always the 1, so A0 goes on the most negative, and right now the way we have it, it would be on the first positive. So that means this whole pack goes on this side, this whole pack goes on that side. So we're gonna change that right now. All right, we flipped around the cells now, put them in the right place. Now we're starting to put the bus bars that came with the cells. 4 holes, so they can take advantage of the extra surface area on each cell. That's what these are for, supposedly. These are 1C cells, so they can put like 280 amps continuously. Now the box can only do 200, so you know, I don't know, you probably don't need those. You can probably get away with doing the single things. You could. I wouldn't think there would be a problem, but obviously a lot of people would have an issue doing that. And if you're one of them, there you go. You just use the 4-bolt ones. All right, there's a quick update. Our little experiment here is not quite gonna work because we forgot that this bus bar is not gonna work. It doesn't fit. And there is no other bus bar that you can use other than if you make your own. So which is what we just did here. We just did a cable. We're gonna use that just for this video, right? To install it and then do the thing. But if you try to do this, then you're gonna have to come up with that. I guess the easiest way is gonna be to use just the single stud cells, which then this will work on a single stud cell. I think maybe a universal bus bar should be included in the future versions of this so that you can use both single stud and dual stud cells. But as of right now, on these ones that are shipping right now, that's not the case. It comes with this, and this is what's going to prevent you from using dual cell studs.
I think Andy was doing like 4, 5, I think.
Yeah, so then we're just torquing those out so that making sure that they're not gonna be loose and create some heat.
But you can't torque up too much because this is like super soft metal.
Yeah. So now the BMS goes on. Okay, so this is so now it's time to put the face. Reconnect all the wires same way you disconnected those. So here's what we've done. We didn't put that last connecting bus bar there between the 2 packs, so this is all dead right now. So if you see us being a little careless as to like the loose cables and stuff, that's because that's all dead. So there's no way any of that stuff is gonna short out. Now we're gonna connect the BMS and now the cables. Then you gotta make sure you connect that BMS positive into the positive there, so the BMS will not turn on if you don't do that. Okay, so everything is connected in here. Now we just have to do that last custom bus bar. You won't have to do that unless you do this, which I guess now I'm like, don't try this at home if you want to make a custom bus bar between the 2. Okay, so now this is completely wired in. Let's turn it on. Look at that. 52 volts. It shows 99. That's usually works. So this is in Chinese. You put it in English by doing that. You do cell voltages. 1, 4 to 8, 9 to 16, they're all there. So now we do the normal setup, the initial setup of a JK BMS, right? And that's on the phone. Okay, so that's it. Your battery box, it's set up. I set it as a lithium iron phosphate with 16 cells. The charging is on and this charging is on. If you connect this, now it's gonna charge and discharge. The balance is off because these are pretty balanced cells. If you put unbalanced cells in here, I guess it will start. There is one final alarm that doesn't show here, but it shows it when you put it in the main thing. And that alarm is basically telling you that you need to change the password. The default password is 123456. It wants you to change that password so that you're not vulnerable to anybody that's just walking around and, you know, just connects via using your Bluetooth, right? And so, yeah, just change that password to whatever, something else that you will remember, and then that alarm will completely go away. And now you have your battery ready to use. The COM ports here are basically the same as every other JK-based box out in the market. There's a lot of documentation. There's a lot of people that are using these boxes and are connecting to some of the popular things. I don't know. I don't have a inverter right now that can communicate with this right now, so I can't show you what that looks like because I haven't tried it myself. So, but we'll do that in the future. All right, so there you go. That's the XintechPro box. I like the fact that it's all put together, even though you do have to take a lot of it off so you can do it. It would be great if you didn't have to undo all those things and still install the things. It would be way, way faster. But it is definitely better than the boxes where everything comes separate, like the eel box that you have like just bags and boxes of components and you have to find out where they're going. You have to install all these, and right? And so this is better than those, but it could be better. I think there's room for improvement when it comes to this box. So this, as far as cost, is about $600. I think you can get them cheaper, like $480, I think, from China, but then you have to pay the shipping from China, so you end up paying about $600, right? So they're all around that same price. They're using the BMS, the JK BMS that everyone else is using. This one, remember, it's mostly, you will have problems and issues if you want to use the double studded things, right? There are other versions of these boxes that are dual compatible, right? And there's so little that that XintechPro has to do to be able to achieve that, and it's just by including a universal bus bar that can go with the single or the dual, right? And if they do that also with their bus bars, instead of submitting these ones, submit the ones with the 4 holes, right? And you can use them with both cells. So I think there's room for improvement there. As far as like the handles, they're nice. They're small and they have the little thing there. They stack nice. They come with the hardware. We didn't put the hardware in here to do, but it does include it to be able to stack it. There is a caddy for these, like a dolly thing that you would put these and you can stack them up to like 4 high. And then obviously these are pretty standard. Just the M8 bolts in here on these, and you have the little cover, so that's pretty good. It has 4 of them, so you can connect a daisy chain, no problem, right? It's got the 250 amp circuit breaker, and now they're putting this little cover here to make it, I don't know why, actually, just to protect it, I guess, because it's not really weather sealed, because this box is not weather sealed. So yeah, you have to put this box inside, somewhere protected, because water will go and ingress in here, especially since you have these holes. Now, this is a feature that I haven't seen in other ones. They have this, I said an M8. This might be an M8 or an M10 bolt. This is an M10 bolt. And what that allows you to do is, if you are putting these together on a bench sort of like this, but your final destination for these boxes is somewhere else, you could just put like rings in here and then use like a engine hoist or something to lift this whole thing. Because this now at this point weighs over 200 pounds, right? This is 16 kilowatt, 15 and a half kilowatt hours of battery, and they could go up to 16. It weighs 250 pounds. It's a lot of weight for, even for 2 people to lift, right? So the fact that they have some threads in here, then you can put eyelets in here and then just like lift it up. That is pretty useful. And so you can build them here on your table and then go and install them wherever you're going to put them. And then, especially if you're doing multiple. So that's a pretty cool thing. Other than that, everything is pretty standard. So yeah, if you are interested in these boxes, now we have a full line of them available at jack35.com. I will put a link to the to this product there in the description. And these are stocked in the US in our warehouse. So that if you want to get these, then they ship right away. You don't have to wait the sometimes 2 months that it takes from them to come from China. We already waited about 2 months for these to ship from China. And so now you can order them from local warehouse, and then it'll be there in a couple of days. All right. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.